Now then, after a university professor suggested children needed more overweight heroes like rotund schoolboy Billy Bunter, we are asking if children really do need larger fictional characters to look up to.
Well, we're joined now by Dr Natasha Larmie, who labels herself as the fat doctor and believes there should be more diverse characters taught in schools, alongside weight loss guru Steve Miller. And welcome to you both. Thank you for joining us here today. So Professor Graham Davis, he said that children should be taught in schools about the larger children's fictional characters because children need fat heroes. He said that leading characters in modern children's literature, such as boy wizard Harry Potter and teenage spy Alex Rider, tend to be overly successful. It's interesting, Natasha, because when you sort of look back to that character in particular, there was a lot of fat shaming around that character. He was called Fat Owl, Fat Head. But despite all of this, you believe that things like this should be on the curriculum?
Absolutely, because I think what we'll be able to do is open up a conversation about weight stigma and about fat shaming. I truly believe that children need as diverse a range of characters in books and to look up to as possible. Weight stigma is something that affects us from childhood and carries on all the way through our lives. It affects all sorts of things. Our wages, people who are overweight tend to have a lower wage, they tend to have fewer career opportunities, they have poorer access to healthcare. So, the kind of things that you experience when you're a child can carry you through for the rest of your life. So I think it's a fantastic thing to not only have, a kind of a larger character for children to look up to and to read about at school, but also to start talking about body diversity and how it's so important for people to realise that everybody is a good body.
So, with that in mind, Natasha, would this character be attempting to lose weight, or would everyone be accepting the fact that they were a larger character and it really didn't matter about future health issues?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a really interesting topic, isn't it? This idea that weight loss is a good thing. Most of the evidence out there shows that weight loss is actually not good for our health. In fact, if you want to pretty much guarantee that you're going to be heavier 5 years from now, the best thing that you can do is go on a diet, because that's actually the greatest predictor of weight gain, is going on a diet. The weight loss industry is going to try and convince you that I'm wrong, because they don't want to acknowledge the fact that actually most people, when they go on a diet, actually end up gaining weight over 5 years. So in the first year, absolutely, you can lose weight, but within 5 years, you tend to gain it back again. And that's how the weight loss industry operates. That's where they make their money, because you lose weight and then you gain it back, and then you have to go to another weight loss program.
Well,
I think
you've lit the blue touch paper as far as Steve is concerned. All right, Steve, you've heard what Natasha has to say. It sounds like there's no point trying to lose weight anyway, because it won't happen.
Well, there's a couple of things, right? So the first one, with characters and heroes of any size, shape, colour, creed, nationality, gender, whatever. Of course, it's important to celebrate diversity. I agree with that. What I'm not in favour of is to glorify obesity to children as a normal way of being. Now, because that is obviously dangerous. What I'm kind of concerned about, and I'm kind of confused, is we have a doctor that's telling the nation today that actually you don't need to lose weight and you can be healthy. Now, that really concerns me because of all the obvious things that we know being too fat, obese, leads to. We also know in the current situation that obesity, I've got the figures actually, where are they? I've got the figures. Obesity, if you get COVID, you are much more likely to be hospitalized if you are obese, and you are much more likely to die if you're on a ventilator in hospital with COVID. And it's all right you nodding your head there, doctor, and it's interesting you call yourself the fat doctor. I just can't understand. It's like you're promoting fat. It's like the fat acceptance army. I mean, maybe it's me being a bit slow, but you're going to have to explain to me why you feel it's actually a good thing to be fat.
Well, and Natasha, I think you should answer that. I mean, you've actually gone further to say that opinions like Steve are discriminating.
Absolutely. I think there's lots of things we have to understand here. First of all, health is not just physical. Okay, health it's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual. And the second thing that we have to appreciate is that health is a privilege that you're born into. It is not an achievement from losing weight by diet and exercise. And I'm sorry, I just have to explain that. So basically, what all of the evidence shows is that when you're born into an affluent home, when you're born white, when you're born male, when you're born able-bodied, when you're born cisgender or heterosexual, all of those things mean that you are more privileged and your health will automatically be better, irrespective of your weight. And that's unfortunately difficult for people like Steve, because of course, Steve likes to blame the individual and say that weight loss is something that we can do. But we actually have all the data to show that it's not something. We've also got the data
don't both talk at the same time, because it's even harder when we're on calls like this, because you cut each other out. So let's say, Steve, your turn for the moment.
I think what I'm actually saying is that I think it is incredibly important to inspire and to enthuse our nation to live their life non-obese. What you're saying today is we should glorify it. Let's celebrate being fat. You know, I mean, if I came to you as a doctor, I reckon I'd walk out with a prescription that actually read, you know, say to yourself and sing to yourself, if you're happy and you're fat, clap your hands every day.
Natasha, I mean, you have already on social media, and this is part of a movement actually to do this, which is to censor the word obesity, and within the word obesity you put an asterisk there so you don't actually write the word. Why have you decided to do that?
Well, because what Steve is accusing me of is actually absolutely correct. I look at the evidence, and it makes it very clear that you cannot tell whether a person is healthy just by weighing them and measuring their body mass index. There are lots of studies that show, in fact, there's one study that showed that 50% of people with a BMI of over 25 are actually healthy, and 30% of people who have got a BMI under 25 are not healthy. And so actually what I do when I'm at work is I never call people obese, because I know how triggering that word is. I know that obesity, that word, has contributed to a lot of weight stigma, and what that's done is so dangerous in the medical profession. My colleagues are not giving obese patients the same treatment that they're giving to their thin patients.
However, Natasha, Steve says being obese is the second largest killer to cancer.
That's not true at all. That's absolute nonsense. I've got the evidence to prove that is absolutely untrue. He's just quoting false statistics.
Come out with that. You can't be putting that message out as a doctor. And also, can I say this? Can I say, no, you let me speak for a minute. The latest study from Harvard, if you want to go down the research and study route, has made it absolutely clear that you cannot be fat and healthy. And it is a disgrace, in my opinion, for any doctor to be shouting to the nation this morning, well, do you know what? If you're a bit poor, or if you're, I don't know, whatever, you're always going to be fat anyway. And actually, it doesn't really matter, because you can be fat and really healthy. It's
really difficult, isn't it, for the individual, whether it be a child that's being introduced to this in the curriculum or an adult who's sitting watching this now, to know what is the right thing when you hear two people with such opposing views there. So what does someone do?
So what I'll say is that I don't have the time to explain all of the science here. If you come and actually look on my website, www.fatdoctor.co.uk, or come and follow me on social media, you'll see that I quote plenty of studies. I give lots of evidence-based medicine. I am willing to stake my career on the fact that I believe that we need to stop telling people to lose weight. I absolutely believe that we should be encouraging people to nourish themselves and to exercise, but not to lose weight.
Heart attack. You're telling the nation that if they're obese, don't worry about it, even though we know that most people, if you're obese, you're much more at risk of dying of COVID if you get it. And you're saying to the nation today, as a GP then,
I'm not sure you two are ever going to agree on this point, and we probably could discuss it till the end of the show. But listen, thank you both for being here this morning. Good to talk to you both. Thank you.
We obviously throw that open to you now, and we'll look forward to hearing what you've got to say.